good afternoon, sport lovers. This is Sport Echoes on Melody 100.7 FM. On this show, we dive deep into stories behind the scores, the legends, the heartbreaks, the breakthroughs, and the unforgettable moments that shape sport as we know it today. And yes, there's also the quiz segment where I ask questions, and if you get them, yes, you're gonna win something. Alright, from Nigerian Golden Goals to Olympic Sharks to African Giants that shook the world stage, this show is your backstage pass to the past. I'm gonna be bringing you facts, voices, memories, and maybe even a few chills as we relive the moments that made fans scream, nations proud, and history take note. So whether you're in traffic or at home, or you're just chilling with your radio, I promise you this: after today, you will never see sports the same way again. Alright, we're currently live on YouTube, Melody 100.7 FM. Active on Radio Garden, Melody 100.7 FM. Alright, welcome you in the name of the chairman of Melody FM, Prophet Sam Adebayo Ojo Baba Authority, and also the general manager of Melody 100.7 FM, Eniola Afolabi, the sports marshal. The producer of this show is Pretty the Finest, Adegoke, the nature's finest. Big shout out to the guys taking care of DIZ, Yusuf Oladimiji, studio manager for today. Olatoye, my boy, taking care of the engineering. A big shout out to Auntie Fee, also in the building. Alright, I'm Akinbobola, Egunfemi. Welcome aboard.
It sure does. It sure does not. Here's David Silva, and if they win the title from here, I don't think it'll ever be topped. Talked about 1989 and the way Arsenal needed to win by two, did win by two, and took it away from Liverpool's grasp. Another corner. Joe Hart has got as far as the centre circle this time. And goes Jacko! Oh, hope rekindled here! Could it happen? They're racing back to the restart. What a great finish, the first time he got on the move. Look, his feet were moving, got himself a big spring. Fantastic goal, great delivery. Goalkeeper chooses to stay at home. There he goes, loses his man, and now it's game on. What a great header. City's still alive.
Alright, so that was when Aguero scored that crucial goal. 2012 Man City against QPR, where Man City snatched the Premier League title from Manchester United. I remember that shout, Aguero! So that was the clip I played right there. King Sport. Football is a game built on moments, and nothing captures those moments better than a truly iconic goal. Across the generations, certain strikes have risen above the rest, becoming the symbol of skill, courage, and pure football magic. From the dazzling run of Diego Maradona during the 1986 FIFA World Cup to the unstoppable long-range thunderbolt from Cristiano Ronaldo in the UEFA Champions League, these goals are etched into the memories of fans around the world. They are more than just points on the scoreboard. They are moments when stadiums erupt, commentators lose their voices, and the millions of fans feel the same surge of emotion at the same time. Now, whether it's the audacious bicycle kick, the last-minute winner, or a breathtaking solo effort like the one Lionel Messi did against Tafe, iconic goals reminds us why football is called the beautiful game. These unforgettable strikes live far beyond 90 minutes. We played again and again as reminders that in football, a single touch of brilliance can turn an ordinary match into history. So it lays the foundation of today's topic on Sport Echoes. So the topic is iconic goals. Some of the iconic goals we've seen in football world. Just like I said, in 1986, the dazzling run of Diego Maradona. We look at some of those iconic goals. Definitely we can't take all. Maybe 7, 8. Before I go on to the quiz segment, I ask you, which one of the goals do you consider iconic for you? I mean, it doesn't have to be these ones I mentioned, or this one I will be mentioning on the show. Anyone you feel, it could be a guy you love so much. Could even be in Africa. So today we're going to be looking at some of the iconic goals in football.
Tiene Maradona, lo marcan dos, pisa la pelota Maradona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial y es el tercero a tocar por Borruchaga siempre Maradona, genio, 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 ¡Qué planeta vivir! Diego Armando Maradona. Gracias Dios por el fútbol, por Maradona. Por Argentina 2, Inglaterra 0.
So that was the incredible goal scored by Diego Maradona during the 1986 FIFA World Cup. And yes, that's the first for today. I remember on Sport Echoes, we take you through the iconic moments. So today, Maradona's goal of the century, dated 1986. Now to be precise, it happened June 22, 1986, and the match was a quarter-final between Argentina national football team and England national football team at the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Now, more than 110,000 fans were in the stadium that day, and millions were watching around the world. But this match carried more than just a football importance. Only 4 years earlier, Argentina and the United Kingdom had fought in the Falklands War. Because of that, emotions between the two countries were still very strong. So when the teams stepped onto the pitch, this was not just a football match. It was a moment filled with pride, tension, and history. So that goal happened in the second half. Maradona scored a controversial goal, now known as the Hand of God. He jumped with England goalkeeper Peter Shilton and punched the ball into the net with his hand. The referee allowed the goal, even though England players protested. But just 4 minutes later, something happened that erased all controversy and produced one of the greatest football moments ever seen. The ball reached Maradona inside Argentina's own half. He was about 60 meters away from the goal. England's midfielder Peter Besley tried to challenge him, but Maradona quickly turned away. Then Peter Reid tried to catch him. Maradona accelerated, and this is where the magic began. Maradona carried the ball forward with incredible close control. The next came the defender, Terry Butcher. Maradona moved the ball past him with a quick touch. Then another defender, Terry Fenwick, attempted to stop him. Maradona slipped past him as well. And at this point, the stadium was rising to defeat. The run continued into the penalty area. Now, only the goalkeeper, Peter Shilton, stood in his way. Shilton rushed out to block the shot, but Maradona calmly touched the ball around him. Let me use the word, he dribbled him. Even as defender Terry Butcher desperately tried to tackle him from behind, Maradona kept his balance and rolled the ball into the net. Goal for Argentina. And the reason why I played that particular insert, because the moment became even more iconic because of the famous commentary from Victor Hugo Morales. He was the commentator on that day, June 22, 1986, when Diego Maradona scored that brilliant goal. Maradona dribbled past 5 England players in just a few seconds. His control of the ball at full speed was extraordinary. Very few players in football history have been able to run with the ball that closely attached to their feet. Maybe just Messi in this generation, where we saw Ankara Messi. Definitely we'll get to that. This was not a regular league game. It was a World Cup quarter-final. One of the most important matches in international football. Performing such a brilliant individual run on that stage made it even more remarkable. Maradona carried the ball nearly 60 meters from his own half to the goal. That kind of solo run requires incredible balance, speed, and decision making. I'm talking about the impact of that goal on the tournament. Argentina went on to win the match 2-1. They later defeated the Belgium national football team in the semi-final and then beat West Germany national football team in the final. And Argentina became world champions. And Maradona was the star of the tournament. Now, talking about the goal of the century, that tag, goal of the century. In 2002, fans around the world voted for the greatest goal in World Cup history on the official website of FIFA. And Maradona's goal won by huge margin. Since then, it has been officially known as the goal of the century. And nearly after 40 years, this moment is still replayed in documentaries, sport shows, just like Sport Echoes, and highlighter videos. It represents the pure beauty of football, creativity, courage, and individual brilliance. For many fans, that run by Diego Maradona is the perfect example of why football is called the beautiful game. A single player, a few seconds of magic, and a moment that will live forever in sport history. So Maradona's June 22, 1986 World Cup goal against England is number one on my list and on my menu today. Number two today is definitely from Zinedine Zidane. One of the best midfielders I've ever seen, honestly. I mean, ever watched, because I've never seen him. Technical on the ball, and give accurate passes. Didn't grow up to, I didn't watch his game live, but I saw clips, and I mean, that guy is brilliant. So let's sit back and listen to that incredible goal. Zinedine Zidane, yes, I scored. That game was against Bayer Leverkusen, and it's number two on the menu today of incredible goals seen in football, right here on Sport Echoes and Melody 100.7 FM. Keep it locked.
Zoltan Zebesen, será saque, la devuelve Roberto Carlos a Solari, cuelga la pelota, ojo a Zidane, ¡gol! ¡Madre mía! ¡Vaya golazo de Zidane! ¡Vaya golazo de Zidane! ¡Madre mía! ¡Cómo enganchó la pelota el francés para meter ese balón envenenado en las...
There's this vibe these commentators give when a goal is scored. That's what it's called. Just like Ankara Messi. There's a vibe, there's a certain vibe they give. It makes the goal even look more extraordinary. Alright, talking about the goal, that was Zinedine Zidane. Was in a Champions League game against Bayer Leverkusen. Madrid defeated Bayer Leverkusen 2-1. But to start, every footballer dreams of playing in the Champions League final, but only a few players produce moments that are remembered forever. One of the moments came in 2002 when Zinedine Zidane scored what many people considered the greatest goal ever scored in a Champions League final. The match was the 2002 UEFA Champions League final, and it took place on May 15th, 2002 at the famous Upton Park in Glasgow. The two teams were Real Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen. Real Madrid were already known as the kings of Europe, and they were chasing their 9th European title. It was called the La Novena. So in Spain it was called the La Novena. That was the 9th European title. Quite crazy now that they've done 15. The team was full of superstars. Players like Raúl González, Luis Figo, and of course Zinedine Zidane. And for Leverkusen on the other hand, they had incredible players too. But at that time they were underdogs. They had talented players like Michael Ballack and Lucio, the Brazilian. The final started with immediate excitement, and in the 8th minute, Raúl González scored to give Real Madrid the lead. But Bayer Leverkusen responded quickly, and just a few minutes later, defender Lucio scored with a header to equalize. The score was now 1-1, and the final was wide open. Then came the moment that changed everything. Near the end of the first half, Roberto Carlos had the ball on the left side of the pitch. Now, instead of crossing the ball normally, he lifted a high looping cross towards the edge of the penalty area. And most players in that situation would try to control the ball first, but Zinedine Zidane saw an opportunity. The ball was dropping from the eye in the air. The angle was difficult. The ball was coming towards his weaker left foot, and there were defenders nearby. Still, Zinedine Zidane decided to strike it first time. Zidane positioned his body perfectly. As the ball dropped, he swung his left leg and connected with a perfect volley. The timing had to be absolutely precise. The one thing about that goal is if he had hit it too early, he was going to miss. Hit it too late, the ball goes over the bar. But Zinedine Zidane struck the ball perfectly. The shot flew towards the top corner of the goal, and the goalkeeper of Leverkusen, Orange Jong, had no chance. The ball smashed into the net. Goal for Real Madrid. 2-1 it ended. Now, talking about why the goal was so extraordinary. The volley is already one of the hardest skills in football, but Zinedine Zidane's volley was even more difficult because the ball was dropping from a very high. It was moving quickly. He used his left foot, even though he was right-footed. The shot had to be perfectly timed. And talking about the stage, it was a Champions League final, the biggest club match in world football. Millions of people around the world was watching. And performing such a difficult skill in that moment shows Zidane's incredible composure and confidence. The importance of the goal, Zidane's strike gave Real Madrid the lead before halftime. And in the second half, goalkeeper Iker Casillas made several crucial saves to keep Leverkusen from scoring. The match ended 2-1. Real Madrid won their 9th European title, and Zinedine Zidane's goal became the defining moment of the final. Even today, More than 2 decades later, that volley is shown in highlight reels around the world. Many football experts and former players still describe it as the greatest goal ever scored in the Champions League final. It's perfectly captured everything made Zinedine Zidane such a special player. Elegance, technique, calmness, and the ability to shine on the biggest stage. That was what Zinedine Zidane showed in that game with that touch of brilliance. The second goal is scored against Bayer Leverkusen, but the second goal of Real Madrid, scored by Zinedine Zidane, that was against Bayer Leverkusen, where Real Madrid were the La Novena, the 9th Champions League for them right there. Alright, leaving Zinedine Zidane's goal. And straight to Roberto Carlos.
His hands, he's having a good careful look about it. It's placed absolutely perfect. Look at that. I mean, everything's set that he's going to hit it. I just wonder if they're kidding us on.
It's what, all 30 yards, Andy?
Oh, why not? It's a 30-yard free kick with a 20-yard run-up.
Dear, dear! I don't believe it! What a goal we have just seen from Roberto Carlos! That is amazing!
Well, that was what was missing in Euro 96. That is quite incredible. Not so sure about the goalkeeper's position and what he saw, but we can't deny the quality of the strike. It had power, it had bend, it had accuracy. Watch this. Starts way, way, way wide of the goal. That's 2-3 yards wide and just clips the inside of the post. That is quite a magnificent free kick. I'm not so sure we'll see one better than that for many, many a year. Quite exquisite.
An absolutely stunning shot. Barthez, well, he was as much a spectator as I was.
So that goal by Roberto Carlos was tagged as the impossible free kick. Impossible free kick. And the man behind it was Roberto Carlos, one of the greatest left backs the game has ever seen. I remember the goal I mentioned, the one I talked about earlier. Real Madrid versus Bayer Leverkusen. Was the man that gave Zinedine Zidane the assist. But this time, he makes the number 3 of the iconic goals today on Sport Echoes. And it's not easy. Roberto Carlos, you need to call me. Assist and a goal in a show today. Call me, call me. Now that hype is crazy. Now, talking about Roberto Carlos, he was famous for 3 things: his incredible speed, his powerful left foot, and his ability to score stunning free kicks. But one free kick in particular shocked the entire football world. The year was 1997. The tournament was the Tournoi de France. In 1997, a competition organized to help prepare for the 1998 FIFA World Cup. And the match was between Brazil national football team and France national football team. The game took place at the Stade de Golland in Lyon. France had a very strong team at that time with players like Fabien Barthez, who was one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Then Brazil won a free kick. The distance, the ball was placed about 35 meters from the goal. 35 meters from the goal, close to the center box where those players always get to pass the ball. And that was a very, very far free kick. Normally, from that distance, players try to cross the ball into the box for a teammate, but Roberto Carlos had something else in mind. Roberto Carlos stepped back from the free kick. He didn't stand directly behind the ball. Instead, he moved far to the side, creating a strange angle. Many players and commentators thought he was going to cross the ball, but then he began his run. The shot, and Carlos struck the ball with the outside of his powerful left foot. The shot was extremely powerful. The ball flew through the air at high speed. At first, it looked like the ball was heading several meters wide off the goal. In fact, the ball boy standing behind the goal actually moved because he thought the ball was going out of play. For goalkeeper Fabien Barthez, he also believed it was going wide. He barely reacted, he just stood still. They no burn up. So then something unbelievable happened. The curve, as the ball traveled through the air, it began to curve dramatically. The spin Carlos put the ball on caused it to bend inward. What looked like a miss suddenly turned into a perfect shot. The ball curved around the defensive wall, past the goalkeeper, and into the net. Goal! Goal! The stadium erupted. Even the players on the field looked shocked. Now, while this goal was so incredible, the extreme curve of the ball, most free kicks curve slightly, but this ball curved over 3 meters during its flight. It started far outside the goal and then bent back inside. Talking about the distance, just like I said earlier, the free kick was taken from more than 35 meters away. And you know one shocking thing about the goal? After the match, scientists became fascinated with the goal. Physicists studied the ball's movement and explained it using a concept called the Magnus effect. This effect occurs when a spinning object moves through the air. The spin changes the air pressure around the ball, causing it to curve. Because Roberto Carlos struck the ball with the outside of his foot, it created extreme spin, and that spin made the ball bend in a way that looked almost impossible. The goal quickly spread around the world. Football fans replayed it again and again on television. Commentators described it as one of the greatest free kicks ever scored. Even years later, players and fans still talk about it as the important